Hello, so my name is Wanda, and I will be doing my assignment for assignment 1.2 on my personal work history. I will be using a PowerPoint presentation. I would first like to say thank you for allowing us to be a little bit more creative and think out of the box and not have to do essays for each of our papers, except for the final, which will be a paper, but this allows me to flex my creativity a little bit more and to visualize what I'm actually trying to convey. So in this presentation, I will be covering the development of my core belief of work, what work means to me, my aspirations, both when I was little and now, my work history, my motivation to become a counselor, my self-reflection from this week's reading, and a summary. So I'd like to start off with the development of my core belief on work. So my parents played a major role in my development of my work beliefs. My mom, my dad who raised me, and my biological father are all workaholics. And the theme growing up is that you have to work hard in order to have anything in life. My dad, the one who raised me, who's in the second image with me, he owned his own business, and he also grew up during the time when there was still a lot of racial tension and segregation. So for him, he learned that he had to work really hard or even harder than those around him in order to prove that he was just as good as his peers. There were not very many African American business owners in the part of Oklahoma in which he was from and he grew up in. So, just to prove himself, he had to show that his work and quality of work and his ability to accomplish the work was the superior to others, and he worked really hard to prove himself. After him and my mom divorced, I didn't realize that my mom was then part of the working poor. She would work two, at one point, even three jobs just to make ends meet. From her, I learned that you have to work in order to survive and not depend on the government. She really was not for government aid and assistance. A lot of her siblings were, and their quality of life was hindered by that, or kind of there was a ceiling of how far they can go and reach because of the fact they depended on government aid versus working a 9 to 5 or two jobs in order to make to draw an income. So, and then I'm just now getting to know. And I'm just now getting to know my biological father. We've only known each other for about 2 years, but I'm finding out that I'm a lot like him. He loves to work harder and longer than is necessary and often puts work above family time. But I'm currently learning to create a balance in that. When I say that they're all workaholics, as far as my biological father, he's the prime example. He will work a whole month and only take a weekend off. My mom is finally to the point to where she's only working one job, but she does work most times 7 days out of the week. And my father, who raised me, of course, for him, he did work in excess, but he was his own boss. So it was a little bit different for him. So, what does work mean to me? Well, my definition of work has definitely evolved, and I tend to have three main parts currently in my definition. The first two have been with me for quite some time. The first one is that work means the ability to care for your needs, responsibilities, and your family. This is quite important to me that you're able to take care of your responsibilities that you're dedicated to and those around you, and taking care of yourself, which is one main reason as to why we all work or have some type of a way that we draw an income. Second, work integrates you with your community. By working, you're able to tithe at church and contribute to those in need. It allows you the opportunity to invest in your community. This improves your well-being and quality of life, which is really great because depending on where you live, your ability to invest in your community and makes your community a better place, and that really does have an impact on how you feel about yourself, how you feel about where you're from, and things of that nature. So I'm a big advocate on at least being able to give back to the community and the surrounding area. Third, work creates a means for you to fulfill your dreams. and doing something that you enjoy and that brings you pleasure. I believe that work can be it can be both enjoyable and fulfilling. And when you enjoy your work, it is easier to dedicate yourself to your job. In this way, work can be freeing and it can also remain exciting. This third part for me is something I'm just now learning to understand now in later years of my life. That my job can be a way of me fulfilling my dreams. And I love the image at the bottom that is beautiful when when a career and passion come together. And when you're working a job that is your passion, it no longer feels like work. I believe the word work has drawn kind of a negative idea in society when it really doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to mean the negative sense of just that it's a drain as something you have to do, as far as it can be a joy, something you get excited about doing. And that's my three angle approach to what work means to me. My aspirations. So in the sixth grade, I was watching a parade, and all the local high schools, JRTC units, which are military style units in high school where they teach military values and basic military traditions and things in high school level to prepare individuals for future careers in the military, where they were all marching in this parade. And when I saw the uniforms at the Bolton High School Air Force Junior RTC unit, I knew I had to be a part of it. From that point on, everything I did in middle school was focused on joining the Air Force. I remember telling my mother and her laughing the idea off. I did attend Bolton High School and was accepted into the Air Force Junior RTC unit. My love and passion for the military bloomed during those 4 years. I didn't know it then, but my biological father was an Army veteran and his father was an Air Force veteran. So that actually makes me third generation military. And I'm an Air Force vet like my grandfather, who I did not get a chance to know here, unfortunately. But it's really great now that I get to share that military love. And I guess it was down in my genes and I didn't even realize it. My aspirations now, of course, I'm no longer in the military. Even though I originally thought I would spend 20 years in the military and retire as a chief master sergeant. That didn't happen. Life does change and takes twists and turns. My aspiration now is that, in which it has been for the past 7 years since I've been in ministry, has been to work and focus on sorry about that. My focus has shifted from myself, which was the military was my self goal of what I wanted for me, to the needs of others. My relationship with Christ has flourished during this time, and my sole aspiration now is to follow him and to do his will. So, and right now, it has been part of my current work and why I'm currently at Indiana Wesleyan. I feel like I'm really in tune with what God has called me to do with my life, and I'm just following that, and that's my aspiration right now for my future and what I want to do career-wise. Work history. This week I have definitely learned that work history or life career development is more than just the paid jobs that you have. So I've included in this collage of just all my unpaid, paid work that kind of led and took me through to where I am today, including some of the life roles that have impacted my career path, leading me to where I am today. Of course, now for the first time, I see those 4 years in the Air Force Junior RTC as part of it. I was in the color guard, and a lot of times as the high school color guard, we're called out to go to events, present the colors, and things of that nature. At the bottom there is 2 images of me, one from my first year when I joined in 1998, all the way to my last year as a senior in 2002. So that kind of shows you kind of how I advanced. My uniform has changed quite a bit in that time frame, and it was work. I had to practice, I had to dedicate myself, I had to learn my skill and my craft, and just gain a bit of knowledge about the military and its history and everything involving it. I took on a job at a snow cone stand, which was paid. Part of the reason for doing this was to just be able to finance my ability to participate in Air Force Junior ROTC. We would take trips and competitions, and I needed pocket money. My mom, again, being part of the working poor, I had to find a way to support my desire myself. After high school, I joined the Air Force, which that is again paid work that a history of mine. I stayed in nearly 4 years. It only shows about 3 there given the dates, but it was close to 4. And then I had a child on the way. So I left the military and I joined the Department of Health and Human Services in Arkansas. And I was doing that for a few years there, which is where if you look over my life role section, was when I had my first marriage, and also divorce occurred during that time frame. And I also became a mother during that time frame as well. After 2006, I became a stay-at-home mother and babysitted for a neighbor. So this was both paid and unpaid activities during that time frame. I also met my second husband soon coming up while I was working as a dietary aide. And during that time, I only took that job so I could spend time with my mother, actually. She's again a workaholic, and the only way I could get a chance to spend 8 hours a day with her was that if I worked as a dietary aide at the nursing home in which she was a dietary supervisor. So I took a job for a year to spend time with her before our family went overseas to Japan. So, and during the time when I was in Japan, I was again a stay-at-home mother and also an undergraduate student. This allowed me to get my degree in psychology during that time frame. After the 2013, I went to Ethiopia, where I became the administrative director of Project Mercy, which is an NGO, and this was the start of my work in ministry. In 2017 to 2020, I was the intake coordinator here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, for the rescue mission. And then I started at Indiana Wesleyan as a student in 2018, and still am a student at Indiana Wesleyan. And also, I have now started a new position in 2020 as the Senior Director of Program Services, still with the rescue mission here in Fort Wayne. As far as my life roles, I've been married twice. My first marriage did end in divorce. Just going through and understanding the hardships and the toll that mental health that can occur with mental health, and when you're going through marital issues and divorce and motherhood and being a wife and also a caregiver. I've listed all 4 of those because they do play a role in my desire to counsel and to be a counselor towards others. Because I know each one of those experiences has given me, along with my work history, has given me experience in just going through those, that I can, empathize with my clients who experience those life events as well. So my decision to become a counselor. My decision to become a counselor was slowly created throughout my life experiences. My childhood was traumatic and has shaped a way that I understand myself and the world around me. My young adulthood was messy. I had trouble coping with life. Originally, my curiosity about counseling was born from my desire to better understand myself, to figure out what was wrong with me. My undergrad in psychology taught me 2 things. 1, I am normal in behaving like a person who has been through trauma. 2nd, I can't fix myself, but I can help others. And what I mean by that is that I realized that every counselor needs a counselor or therapist. Every therapist needs a therapist. I need someone to help me better myself, so that way I am in a position to help others later on, and I can help others become the person that they're desiring to become, so that way they can help others in the future as well. It took me another 4 years to figure out how I could help others. My work with the homeless population opened my eyes to their needs for mental health care. However, these needs largely go unaddressed. As the intake coordinator, I quickly realized that I could bring a better quality of service to future clients. My experience in this position exposed me to a glimpse of counseling, and I was hooked. My time at Indiana Wesleyan has only watered and nurtured my interest in counseling, and the skills and lessons learned has improved my ability to do my job and open doors and new opportunities for me. As my position as the intake coordinator is not as a traditional intake coordinator that you would see at a counseling or therapy center. This is doing intakes to assess whether or not a person is a fit for our transitional programming. And in those meetings, in those brief phone calls, I have to go through and ask a lot of times about your personal history, past traumas, and things of that nature. And they currently do not require someone to have a counseling background in order to do that position. So, but what would happen is when you're asking someone about their past traumas, you're opening these wounds, and I was not equipped to close them. I was not equipped to handle them. And I felt deeply like I was doing a major disservice to those individuals and causing them more trauma by having to have them divulge this information to a perfect stranger who was not equipped to help them digest it or at least deal with it in a micro fashion to get through the intake interview so we could move to the next part of me getting them connected to a case manager. So that really kind of solidified why I needed to become a counselor if I was going to continue to help in this capacity or in this role with the rescue mission, that they needed a counselor. And even though they didn't see the need, I saw the need and I couldn't ignore it. So my self-reflections this week. I will have to be very honest and say that when I've put off to taking this course for a while since I've been at Indiana Wesleyan, only because I thought for sure that this course will be boring. Please don't come back and, reprimand me for that. But I didn't think that this course would be very interesting, nor did I fully see the value in why did I need to take a course in career counseling. But this week I realized how important knowledge of career counseling is in any area of counseling. For the past 2 years, I've been in therapy to address my mental health. Even though I went for my personal reasons, I now realize how much of my time in therapy has involved my career and the impact it has had on my life. My therapy was initiated due to the stress from work exacerbating my untreated mental health issues. Often during our sessions, we would discuss how my job impacted my family life, health, marriage, and other areas of my life. We even talked about if this job and position was right for me and if I should consider a career change. While helping me to manage my emotional and mental health, she was also teaching me and helping me to navigate my career issues in a healthier way. I see now that there was no way of treating my mental health without addressing my professional and career health. This realization has given me a newfound appreciation for career counseling, and it truly has. If I was to really just look back at the amount of therapy I've had in the last 2 years, I would have to say probably close to 60% of it has involved, maybe 50 to 60% for sure, has involved my career and my work and the impact that it has on me and my mental health emotionally. So I now am excited about this course, and it has been a wake-up call for me that I really appreciate. So as my summary, the information covered in this presentation reflects my personal journey of developing my view of work and what work means to me. This definition has evolved over time and is bound to change again as a result of this course. For me, the biggest revelation was the impact my race, geography, and social class growing up has had on my outlook of work. I realize now that a lot of what my mother, my father, my biological father, their work habits are very clearly related to their social class, what was going on in society when they were growing up and pursuing careers, and just our race in general and geography. I'm from the South, so it was a little bit different there in the South working than it might have been here in the North or the Midwest. These factors have had a positive and negative impacts, both on them and also on me, because I adopted and inherited those. It has shaped my work and my work ethic and my motivation to work. It has impacted my priorities, values in both positive and negative ways. And this assignment has made me appreciate my life experiences. Because of them, I'm on the path of becoming a counselor today, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the information gained in this course will shape my outlook on this topic. My references were the reading from this week. I did not directly quote any of the reading itself, but it more or less has kind of shaped and colored my understanding of the topics in which I covered in this presentation. Thank you for listening and have a blessed day.